Okay, now you can see me with the glasses and some leaves falling down. All right, I am going to start over. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. How is everyone doing? I have several announcements to make before I get into today's lesson. The first one is I did a video some weeks past, which is on my YouTube channel, Real Estate and Recreation. I corrected the website below in the description part of the video. So please check out the description of the video. I believe the link is singlemothersgrants.com, and that will take you to various government resources that provide assistance to single parents, both mothers and fathers, who want to buy a home. There are additional grants that's broken down per state, in addition to first-time home buyers and other special programs that are out there to assist you if you are a single parent and you want to buy a home. My second announcement is that I applied for one of the equity sharing companies that I mentioned in my last video that I did, and I got approved. I was hesitant to apply. I was thinking that I needed to find property or figure out what to do with the money first before actually applying, but they told me, no, I don't have to do that. They said you apply for the money and they don't actually go into partnership with you until you actually use the money. I'm in the equity part of the program, not the home buyer part of the program. So I thought that was pretty decent, that you can apply, find out how much you need, and that's it. And you don't have to, it's not a pre-qualification type of thing. Once you apply and they tell you how much they're going to give you, that's pretty much it from there. And then the third announcement, I'm going to keep it somewhat of a secret, but an opportunity opened itself up to me. So those of you who are prayer warriors, I am going to need your prayers. It will benefit not only myself, but it may benefit most of the people on this page, particularly those that I've spoken to and conversed with on Facebook and off Facebook. And even those of you who have only spoken to on Facebook, you might also benefit from that. So those are the announcements that I wanted to make before getting started. Needless to say, I am ready to go. So today's topic is how to use your retirement money to buy real estate. And in answering that question, I'm also going to show you the answer to why is it that some people have multiple retirement accounts. And in addition to that, I'm going to go over the HSA, which is the health savings account, and the ESA, which is the educational savings account, because you do have the educational IRA and you have the healthcare IRA. So I want to talk about all of those different accounts. So let's begin at the top. The first one is the 401k. Some of you have a job that offers you a 401k. Some of those 401ks have a self-directed option. If you have a self-directed option in your 401k, you can use that money to purchase a home. But most people who have a 401k, their job does not have a self-directed option. So there is another way in which there are two other ways actually in which they can buy a home. The first way is to take a loan out against the 401k. Now that loan, the interest rate is going to be 1 to 2% higher than what the banks charge. Normally, you can't borrow against your 401k unless you've been in that 401k for at least 5 years. The other thing is there is a cap on how much you can take out or how much you can borrow from that 401k. It's normally either half of what you have in there or $50,000, whichever is least. I want to caution you though, when you take out the maximum and then you also go to a bank and try and get a loan, the bank looks at that, and some of these banks will not loan you any money when they see that you take out the maximum. They figure that maybe your finances is not correct, so that's why you're doing that. The money will, of course, be tax-free if you do it as a loan. Now, you have 5 years to repay that loan, but if you lose your job or if you change jobs, they require you to pay all that money back. So you're going to have to keep that in mind when thinking about borrowing money against your 401k plan. Your other option is just to pull all of the money out. Now, when you pull all of the money out, you're going to suffer a 10% tax penalty, and you're going to have to pay income tax on that. Now, I know myself and several of you know of one particular individual that did that, and she made $700,000 on the flip that she did. Well, here's the thing. Although she did it, and maybe several other people did it, because there is now this discord going out there where people don't trust the 401k. The thing is, she and probably the other people had contractors that they trust. Many people who don't have a real estate team behind them, meaning they don't have a lawyer, they don't have an accountant that's in real estate, they don't have contractors, they don't know any contractors that are reliable and dependable, that might not necessarily be the best road for them to take. So before when you mention people like that who've had that type of success, just make sure you mention that part too, that they had a strong team behind them to support their real estate project, to support their real estate flip. Because everybody that does a flip does not make $700,000. I know from experience, some people don't even make $7. So let's keep it 100. Now, the next retirement vehicle that some people have, is an IRA, an individual retirement account. Now, with the IRA, the maximum you can take out is $10,000. The restraints on that, you can take a loan out on that, is what I'm saying. The maximum loan is $10,000, and you have to use that money within 120 days. If you do not use that money within 120 days, then you will have to pay the tax penalty, and you will have to pay whatever income taxes incurred on that particular amount of money. I'm just going through my notes to make sure that I don't miss anything. Also, other than that, you can't hold real estate in the IRA, and you can't hold it within the 401k either. Now, lastly, you have the Roth IRA. Now, the Roth IRA, you have to have it for at least 5 years before you're able to take out a loan on that to buy property. And again, if you buy property, you have to use that money within 120 days or else you will pay the tax penalty. Now, the only difference between the Roth IRA, the IRA, and the 401k is that if you were to pull all of the money out as opposed to taking out a loan, you're going to pay less taxes than the others. So what some people do is they'll take the money out of the 401k or the IRA and they'll roll it into the Roth, leave it there for a while, and then pull that money out and buy a house just so that they can save money on taxes. And also to the penalty on the Roth, I believe, is slightly lower than the penalty for the IRA and the 401k. Now, there is another way to buy real estate under your IRA, and that's with the self-directed IRA. And there's more than one self-directed IRA. So what you need to do with the self-directed IRA, you can actually buy a house, keep that house in that retirement account. All the money that you make on the house, the rent, the appreciation of the house, stays in that IRA. And tax-free. The only time, of course, you'll be taxed on it is if you take money out. Now, when you have tenants, if you decide to buy a multifamily or an apartment building, when you have tenants, they don't write the check to you. They write the check to your IRA. You can only pull that money out, I believe, when you're 59 and a half at that time, and it's going to be at a lower tax rate. Now, mind you, when I did my research, there's 44 different self-directed IRAs. And yes, all of them do multifamilies, all of them do apartment buildings, but all of them do not do mortgage notes. All of them do not do tax liens. All of them do not do real estate investment trusts. All of them do not do crowdfunding. All of them do not do, let's say, if you were to buy a parking lot or a storage facility and put it in there, all of them will not do that. So when you are shopping for a self-directed IRA, make sure you ask them if they will hold the type of real estate that you are investing in, number one. Number two, of course, definitely ask them how much are their fees. Because if their fees are real high, then that's eating into how much money you're making off of that property. And then number three, you want to ask them where, you might want to ask them where they're located, where their branches are. Some people like to be able to walk into an office as opposed to doing everything online. It's your preference. The other thing that you should note is that it's $5,500 to put money into a self-directed IRA every year if you're just going to put cash in. But you can roll over your 401k and your IRA into a self-directed IRA as well. And when you do that, you don't have to pay from what I understand, you don't have to pay the penalty, or you don't have to pay income tax when you roll it over into a self-directed IRA. With all the information I'm giving you is what I researched, but I realize each state, city, county is different. So please consult your accountant or your lawyer and verify what I'm saying to you. Now, as I mentioned before, I wanted to talk to you guys about the educational IRA and the healthcare IRA. With the healthcare IRA, which is also known as HSA, here are some stipulations. If you are enrolled in an FSA, you can no longer have an HSA. You can't have both at the same time anymore. It was okay in 2012. The Republicans voted against it. So now it's either one or the other. Number two, the HSA is triple tax free. Money going in doesn't get taxed. The money that's being made on the house that's in that HSA doesn't get taxed. And money pulled out to pay for medical expenses does not get taxed. And unlike the IRA, now you know that the IRA, you can pull medical money out if you are unemployed. Well, with the HSA, you don't have to be unemployed. You can be self-employed. You can be unemployed. You can be retired. You can be disabled. And you can pull money out anytime as long as it's for medical expenses. But the IRA limits it to only those who are disabled and to unemployed people. The HSA does not. The HSA is pretty much penalty free. Now, if you do pull money out and it's not for a medical expense, the tax penalty is a lot higher. The tax penalty is 20%. And like I said, you can hold real estate in an HSA. Now, the ESA, that one is the most controversial one. We don't know how much longer it's going to be around. Basically, you can buy a home with the money that's in your ESA account, your educational IRA, and use that money to pay for tuition, books, supplies, uniforms. If you're sending your child to a boarding school, meals would be covered because it's part of your educational expense. However, many Republicans are not too crazy about it because they feel that because there is the College 529 plan, why have an educational IRA? But the thing is, you really cannot hold real estate within the 529 plan the same way you hold real estate in an educational IRA. For example, in the College 529 plan, you can't really buy real estate until your kid is in college, and your kid has to live in that particular property, plus your kid has to pay you rent. That's how it works in a College 529 plan. In an educational IRA plan, you can buy property and put it in that educational IRA before the kid even hits college. You can do it like when the kid is 8 years old. And it doesn't even have to be college. It could be college, it could be a vocational school, just as long as it is an institution that is approved by the Department of Education. That money goes towards paying the school expenses from elementary school all the way up to college. And it would be an investment property. Your child doesn't have to live there. And all the money, all the rent money that you get from that property, the appreciation that you get from that property, all of that grows into that account tax-free. So here's what I want to say to you. I've been seeing people on my timeline saying that they don't want to vote. The thing is that the people that are in office that were elected are making decisions like that. If you want to continue the educational IRA, I believe you should go out and vote. And on top of voting, I know that here in Harlem, November 14th, the candidates that were elected have invited the community to go and sit down and speak with them. They're having an open forum. I know that myself, unfortunately, I am not going to be able to go because it is Thursday, 6:30 in the evening. However, you have family members that are retired, you have neighbors that are retired. Maybe you can go and speak to them so that when they go to these open forums with the candidate, with not the candidates, the elected officials, they can say to them, this is something that is important. This is something we would like for you to fight for when you go back into office. So I just wanted to present those things to you and let you guys know what your different options are. Definitely consult a tax lawyer, a tax attorney, and an accountant, and have them discuss with you which retirement vehicle would be the best vehicle for you to buy property in. And don't forget, there's also grants that you can apply for. It's best to apply for grants. It's best to apply for anything, equity sharing companies, any place, any resource before you actually need the money, so that when the time comes and you find the property that you want, you have the money right there to say, this is it. This is what I would like to purchase. So that's all I have for you for now. Have a blessed day. Happy Veterans Day again to all my vets out there. Enjoy. Bye.